Tonight, could a strike be on the cards as Nyrstar staff reject the latest bargaining agreement? And a science circus hits the region, local students getting hands-on.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening. A majority of workers at the Nyrstar smelter in Port Pirie have rejected a new enterprise agreement proposal laid out by the company. Staff now have the option to vote on what happens next, with a ballot sent home, giving them the option to go on temporary strike.
An agreement with no pay increases for 3 years and a reduced terms and conditions of the current enterprise agreement has seen majority of Nyrstar employees reject the new enterprise offer.
A number of weeks ago, the company put an enterprise agreement out for a ballot to the employees, and the employees rejected it by 97%.
Negotiations have been ongoing since last October, and Mr Hopgood says a ballot will decide the next option for workers at the site, with industrial action possible.
10 questions. Some of those questions do contemplate stop work meetings and bans on work, but there are also other questions within the ballot that deal with things that they can do on site that don't affect their pay.
Discussions towards successfully achieving a new enterprise agreement will continue.
Happy to meet, happy to negotiate to try and resolve the issues that are outstanding and get an outcome that both parties agree to.
Nyrstar wouldn't comment on camera today, but in a statement said discussions with union representatives have mainly focused on the company's financial position and the impact wage increases would have. And it also promises an ongoing commitment to fair conditions for their employees. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
One of Port Lincoln's iconic parks will be guaranteed its future, with the council now working with Rotary to help maintain it. Puckridge Park, named after a former mayor, has been managed by Rotary for 45 years. The council now stepping in to ensure its future.
Puckridge Park is one of Port Lincoln's most iconic and developed grounds with a spectacular view.
It is a magnificent park. It's a magnificent location and it's utilised by a lot of people.
The park is utilised for barbecues, animals, playgrounds, walking trails and more, and is a proud testament to Rotary, which has maintained and managed the park since the early 70s.
45 years of developing the park. It's just a wonderful thing that Rotary has done.
But in recent times, the park's difficult upkeep has stretched Rotary's volunteer resources. This week, the president of Rotary met with the Port Lincoln Council to find a solution to guarantee its future.
We've spent countless thousands of volunteer hours up here developing paths, planting trees, and it just gets to the stage where we need to have a master plan so that we can develop the park professionally further on.
The council agreeing to work side by side with Rotary to develop a master plan, one that will benefit the community.
The community works best when council assists other members of the community, so a great outcome.
Ourselves, council and the community all know what's happening.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Upper Spencer Gulf businesses are being encouraged to attend information sessions on the $20 million regional jobs and investment package. The package will provide assistance and support for businesses looking to expand operations. 3 streams will be available, with companies able to choose from local infrastructure, innovation or skills and training. Sessions will be held in Whyalla and Port Augusta at their RDAs on the 28th and 29th of August respectively, and Port Pirie hosting a session at the Golf Club on the 30th. The federal MP Rowan Ramsey says it's a great funding opportunity.
Businesses and others can come along and actually work out how this program works and what they need to do to access part of this funding. Now, $20 million is a lot of money.
Tradies are being urged to take better care of themselves during Tradies Health Month. In Port Augusta today, a pair of physios taught a group of tradies some stretching techniques to help boost their fitness.
Simple stretches that can save tradies' backs. It's Tradies Health Month, and the Port Augusta Physiotherapy Centre held a presentation on how tradies can avoid injuries on the job.
As a general trade, most people are pretty active with their bodies, but it's about being active outside as well that's going to help increase or decrease the rates of injuries.
This year, the Australian Physiotherapy Association is focusing on what workers do outside of the workplace, and they need to do more cardio.
Based on what we see here, it's cardiovascular fitness. So by that I mean, the ability to repeat an action. You don't have to run a marathon, but you do have to be able to maintain a decent heartbeat. So one of the things we see in the clinic is low cardiovascular fitness.
But this year we've taken to the next level, which is It's not about inside the workplace now. Let's look at outside the workplace, which is at home. So let's look at your general fitness, how healthy. So go for walks, take for an outdoor adventure. So
Stretches for the neck, calves and hammies can work wonders for those doing repetitive actions.
So it's basically putting a certain joint in a fixed position or repetitive position all the day. So some parts are going to be really shortened and kind of stiff, so it's always a good idea to stretch. Even though it might look funny, it might look weird or awkward, it's always a good idea to stretch.
Everyone is encouraged not to leave it too late.
When you do get a niggle, and acting early can often save things a few weeks to a few months in treatment time, and also save the cost to themselves personally and financially.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, the launch of a new book looking at the relationship between Whyalla and the sheep stations which surrounded the city for a century. The details ahead. Welcome back. A pop-up shop to help the homeless remains open for another day in Port Pirie as part of a National Awareness Week. Uniting Care Wesley is welcoming visitors to help themselves to the service in a bid to help them keep warm and dry this winter.
As a part of Homelessness Week, a pop-up shop has been open for people living rough in Port Pirie. It's in the heart of the CBD, but won't be there for long as it's closing tomorrow night.
I think it's really important that Uniting Care Wesley have provided this pop-up shop facility in Alexandra Street. It's about making the community aware that we do have issues. Every community has issues with people who are homeless.
The facility offers free activities and clothing giveaways to help keep those on the streets and those facing homelessness warm during winter.
We have a small number of winter giveaways here. If anyone's in need of warm clothing, there's jackets, scarves, beanies. By all means, pop in and grab something.
And there is friendly faces inside offering guidance and support for those who need it.
To also advise people what support networks we have in Port Pirie for people who are homeless, who are about to face homelessness.
Homelessness in Port Pirie is often hidden, with many people not fitting the stereotype of sleeping outside.
So there'll be people staying temporarily with other people, young people staying with other families, sleeping on couches, sleeping on floors, people sleeping in their cars.
And Mayor Rhodey says showing support for the homeless in Port Pirie is the least he can do.
Also to make people aware in the community what is happening in the homeless sector and try and help people as much as they possibly can.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
A workshop was held in Port Augusta today to show local business owners how to pitch their businesses to be involved in government projects. The Industry Advocate Office says if done right, regional businesses have a good chance of winning the contracts.
Government road builds, solar projects and mining developments in the region have one thing in common: businesses need to supply the materials and services. A Port Augusta workshop today unpacking how local business can win these contracts.
Effectively what we're trying to do is engage with businesses that potentially either are currently dealing with government or are looking to sort of look at the government as a potential customer and sort of help them sort of navigate their way through how to best present their business, how to pitch themselves to that government agency.
Giving local business a boost and keeping jobs in the region.
This is one good method of bringing some sort of activity, prosperity back to areas that we've felt let down. So there's been a need for this type of interaction.
And Regional Development says the region is in a prime position for businesses to grow their capability.
We're in a really good position at the moment, and we're certainly getting a lot of queries coming through for office space from people that we've never heard of, companies we've never heard of, either that they're national or they're international companies.
The recommendations were clear. When applying for contracts, local businesses should have a strategy and demonstrate their ability to meet the state's needs.
And I think it's given them a good chance to have a talk to state government and know that state government is there, sticking up for them behind the scenes.
From our perspective, look, the regions are a really significant sort of opportunity for economic development, so we continue to support those businesses.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill will see an increased police presence over the coming months, with a number of major events being held around town. Officers are encouraging locals to go out and enjoy themselves, but be responsible as well. Here's Patrick with this week's Police Talk.
More and more police officers will soon be walking the beat around the Silver City.
We just want to put it out there. Everyone have a great time. Enjoy your sport, enjoy your recreation, enjoy attending these major events for the city, but do it responsibly.
Footy finals will kick off a festive period around the city, which includes the Broken Hill Festival, the Silver City Show and the Silver City Cup. Police will be out in full force, making sure everyone is behaving themselves, with random breath and drug tests being conducted, as well as drug sniffer dogs joining the squad. Police say the chances of getting drug and breath tested during these times is very high.
Every police car is not only a random breath test station now, it's a random drug testing unit. So be aware, if you're on the road and you've had a bit to drink, have a plan B.
Police also warn that if you are asked to leave a licensed premises by staff, you must do it or face serious consequences.
If you don't, you could find yourself facing a $550 fine or possibly before the court. And obviously if police come along and they tell you to leave, do it immediately.
Superintendent Smith says it's about making sure you and everyone around you is having fun, but it's always safe.
We'll be out there, we'll be at these events, we'll be in licensed premises, we'll be on the roads. It's about having a good time but having a safe time.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla residents have gathered for a book launch that explores the history of the 4 sheep stations around the city and their relationship with the town. The family, which owned the land, says it wants to leave a written record of the relationship between the stations and the city.
The Army's Kultana training base stretches down from Port Augusta to Whyalla and across to Iron Knob. But from 1919 until 2013, it was a number of functioning sheep stations spanning 5 generations. A new book has been released, documenting the 94 years of agricultural activity.
Record of A, the people on the property, our family, B, what we did on that property, our relationship with the University of Adelaide, our relationship with BHP.
The book is called Wizzo and was written by Andrew Nicholson Sr. It takes its name from the well that supplied underground water to Rapina, Tregelana, Middleback and Katunga stations. Such was the supply. The family needed to sell sheep only once over the course of 94 years.
Which meant that we could keep our sheep all the time. We could invest in the genetics, buy very good rams.
Andrew's cousin Lachlan was the last operator of Rapina and says it's nice to have a permanent record of their family's contribution to the area.
It's good to have it recorded so that so it doesn't get lost.
The Army took the land in 2013 in a controversial compulsory acquisition. And while the family has moved on, they're still proud to call the area home.
The property and the town of Whyalla set our values as people.
It's a bit disappointing that it's all gone now, but it's recorded for sure. That's good. We're happy about that.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. When we return after the break, a science circus hits the region, local students getting hands-on, and so did our reporter. We'll head along next. Welcome back to Local Petrol Prices Now, and it's been a good week for most of our regional centres. Here's Patrick with this week's Fuel Watch.
The first week of August has been a good one for many, with unleaded and diesel prices on their way back down. Starting with unleaded, and Port Lincoln has seen a big drop in its average. It's almost 3 cents down on $1.24. Whyalla has also seen green, but it's only a small change. Port Augusta has had another week of no movement, while Port Pirie and Cadena's prices have started to rise. Despite the slight hike, they still have the cheapest prices in the Spencer Gulf. Here in the Silver City, we've had a quiet week and still sit on $1.25 a litre. Adelaide motorists would be very happy with their recent drop. The price is now down in the low 120s. To diesel, and once again it's Port Lincoln with a solid drop, the price falling by over 2 cents. Whyalla is down by a tad, while Port Augusta breaks even on 126. Port Pirie is down and Cadena is up, with both towns now averaging $1.18 a litre. Still no movement for Broken Hill, and in Adelaide the price is still hovering on $1.19. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages, and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. If you happen to find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page. Tim.
Thanks, Pat. School students in Whyalla got a taste of what a professional dancing career looks like at a workshop with the Sydney Dance Company this morning. The visit is part of a regional tour the studio is doing to help promote careers in the performing arts.
Students at Nicholson Avenue Primary had their dancing shoes on this morning for a special visit. Performers from the Sydney Dance Company visited the school this morning to give them a taste of what they do to prepare them for the stage.
We look at some of the repertoire, so some of the steps that the company dancers do on stage, and we teach the kids.
The company is in town as part of a regional tour of its Frame of Mind show. One section, titled Wildebeest, interprets the relationships of singular beings who are part of something bigger. Ms. Wood says today's lesson explored how that show came together.
We look at we do a creative task. So how did the choreographer work with the dancers to make the steps that end up on stage?
And she hopes some of the kids come away from the lesson and pursue a career in the industry.
Gain confidence, work on their social skills. It's a creative outlet for them, and as well as being physical and having lots of fun.
And judging by the effort shown, the company may have inspired the next Nijinsky.
The movements and just being able to have fun doing it. Just seeing all the people and touring different places would be amazing. I want to try doing with them and have a crack at it.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The National Science Circus stopped off in Port Lincoln as part of its tour around regional South Australia. The travelling science exhibition visits country communities, giving school kids and even one TV reporter an opportunity to get hands-on and engage with their scientific passions.
It's a circus of a different kind, but one that ignites the same imagination. The Science Circus rolled into Port Lincoln, kids jumping up and down at the chance to get creative.
We've got heaps of fun hands-on exhibits that people can play with. We've taken them from Questacon, and there's also science shows running every half hour as well.
While Questacon is located in Canberra, the Science Circus was formed as an outreach program for those living in remote towns. The organisers made up of uni students completing their science master degrees.
What we want is to bring part of Questacon out to the people all around Australia so they can experience it.
Hundreds of Port Lincoln students flocked for the chance to get hands-on.
Favourite thing was the news and the flash wolf thing in the tent. Like the one where you get to spin the spirals and then you look up and it tricks your eyes. I did that one, and that one.
Ever a kid at heart, I thought maybe it's time to give it a go. First up, the web, which measures your reaction time, and although I gave it my best shot, Phoebe had me well covered. Next was the spinning arm, which looked like fun at first, but then... I'm going to be sick after this. And finally, it was time to see who had the best pitch. I gave it my best shot, but still come up short against the kids. The Science Circus aims to give people of all ages a lasting impression and inspire new passions.
They can all problem solve something together, and it's not big and scary, it's bright and colourful and fun, and that's the best thing about it.
It's the second time the Science Circus has brought their hands-on show to Port Lincoln, but for many students it's their first time to the region, an opportunity they're eager to explore. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Good one, Jason. It always seems like it's the adults having more fun at those kind of things than the kids. Well, stay with us after the break. I'll look at your local weather for the rest of the week and into the weekend. Welcome back to the weather now. A fine one today for most parts. 22 the top in Port Augusta and Whyalla. Port Pirie, a bit of cloud about the place, and at 20, a windy 20 down in Port Lincoln, and a fine 18 in Broken Hill. On the national satellite, that high now is out east. Patchy cloud, though, in its wake is spreading across our region, with it some wind and showers over the next few days. On the waters, the winds 230 knots in northerlies, seas to 3 metres to the southwest. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 5 minutes past 7. So looking at tomorrow, 23 the top for Port Augusta with mainly fine conditions, Whyalla 22 and 21 for Port Pirie. Port Lincoln a bit wet and windy, however 18 degrees the top, and a windy 23 in Broken Hill. And then into Friday, showers lingering for Port Lincoln, 17 the top, but then fine over the weekend. Cleve a bit overcast to wrap up the week, then also fine over the weekend. A sunny 17 on Friday in Woodner, then 22 degrees for Saturday. While a fine and 18 for Friday, then 21 degrees on Saturday. Sunny for Port Augusta, 19 then 22 as we roll on into the weekend. Kadina 16 and then 18. Port Pirie a fine 17 on Friday, Saturday getting to 19 degrees. A bit cooler though for Clare, 13 and 16. Broken Hill sunny and 17 on Friday, with 19 degrees the top expected on Saturday. And that is the local news for this Wednesday evening. Don't forget, you can stay up to date with us anytime on Facebook and on Twitter, and you can catch past bulletins online as well. We'll see you back here tomorrow night from 6:30. I'm Tim Hatfield from the Southern Cross News team. Enjoy your evening. Good night.